So it's central pneumatic, 1.25 PSI, 2.5 horsepower, 21 gallon upright air compressor.
You don't know what I'm doing.
Raining today, and I don't have a real good place to record anything as big as a compressor. I recommend that you do the break-in process. Break-in process is fill it up with oil, let it run and fill up, empty the air tank, and fill it back up twice, then drain the oil right here, and it'll come out and it'll be black as tar, and then refill it, and then fill it up again. You should be ready to go. The more times you do that with fresh oil, the better off you're going to be, but I only did it once. That's all Emmanuel recommended. There's an emergency vent shut off right here. So if you push that, pull it, whatever, it will emergency vent the whole tank. There is a reset button right here. And there is a label for that right here. So if you plug this in and it doesn't want to start, rather than burn up the motor, it will trip the reset. So if your air compressor isn't working, that reset button is one of the first things you want. It's a pretty standard setup in terms of the valves. This is the tank pressure. This is the tool pressure, which is the line pressure. And you adjust that right here. So if you want this to go up, rotate it this way. If you want it to go down, rotate it this way. So, and this is the tank. When you first turn the compressor on, this will run up to about 100 and then kick off, and this will be whatever you set it to. And as this one drops, and this one drops, it'll kick back on and bring that back up to 100. But as long as you have the pressure on this side equal to this side, it won't kick on. As soon as this pressure drops to this pressure, it'll kick back on and try to fill it back up. So it comes with a steel quick disconnect. I put this shutoff valve on it. I bought that at Harbor Freight because these quick disconnects leak, and I was finding that every couple days my air tank would be empty unless I turned off the air to the hose. There is the emergency vent, and there is the fill line. You're going to be sure that the fluid level stays up in that red. If you see that level, it's still within the red. Sometimes I have to pull it forward to see where the level actually is. But as long as you stay in the red, you're supposed to be okay. Has a lot of problems with any circuit that's less than 20 amps. It will try to start and won't. Especially when it's cold. The colder it is, the harder it starts. And I have a feeling that even if you had a full 20 amp circuit and it was zero, that you'd probably still have problems starting it. Be careful with this air compressor and not leave it turned on and plugged in, because the circuits to the garage won't hardly carry 20 amps of power. So when it's really cold, this thing won't start up. And today it's in the 30s. So you'll see it's try to start, lock up. If you leave it plugged in, it'll blow the reset. So the air compressor has went down 40 PSI in the tank, 40 PSI on the outlet. So I'm going to go turn that on and let you see how it sounds. Okay, I plugged it in so I can control it from this switch. The simple operation here is to turn it off and on. That's off, down is on. I leave it off by default. I don't want to take a chance when it's sitting there trying to start and can't and burning something up. Even though there's a reset button, I still don't want to take that chance. I use this with air tools, air nailers, grinders, die tools. Also use it with sandblaster. It's probably right on the verge of having enough, because when I run the sandblaster, it runs constantly. They recommend you get water filters for these. And I bought one, but I only use it when I'm doing sandblasting. I don't use it when I'm using other air tools like a grinder or an air nailer. So to me, it's a pretty basic operation. It's a little loud. When I bought it, I did some research, and there's sleeveless and sleeved air compressors. Sleeved air compressors don't use fluid. Sleeveless uses fluid. The difference is the sleeved will have a Teflon sleeve and don't need fluid, don't need lubrication. I bought this because the general reviews, the general information I could find said that a sleeved air compressor was louder. I would hate to see this compressor sleeveless because it's plenty loud as it is. Comes with a steel quick disconnect. I purchased the shutoff valve so that I could put the shutoff valve on there, turn it off when I'm not using it so the air hose doesn't leak. You've watched my other video about the quick disconnects. They leak air. I think that's endemic to all of them, not necessarily Harbor Freight's. But that lets me connect the hose. We've got a 25-foot hose. I have a second 25-foot hose if I would need it. I have a quick disconnect on the other end of the hose. All of my air tools have this quick disconnect on them. This is just an air gun that I got from Harbor Freight about 20 years ago. If you listen, you can hear the air hose energize when I open this valve. So if your air compressor starts to run and shuts off and won't try, check this reset button. A lot of times if you're trying to start it on a circuit that doesn't have 20 amps, it'll reset this breaker. If that happens, that's your fault because that's the power coming from your outlet, not the compressor's fault. It clearly says on it there's a 20 amp requirement. This is where you add the oil. That filler valve right there that lets you check that, you take that off to drain it. I don't think there's anything really special about this compressor. Pretty standard technology, been around, the concept's been around forever. Harbor Freight just put this together based on existing technology. I like it. It does exactly what I need. 21 gallon is plenty for me. When I'm using air tools, sometimes it'll run more than it should, but it replaced a 10 gallon compressor. Perfectly okay with 21 gallon. The 2.5 horsepower is probably pretty close considering that it needs a 20 amp circuit to run, and if it doesn't get 20 amps, it won't run. Okay, if you like the videos, please like the videos. If you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.